we're we're not in a fair fight. We're already outmatched and out at all points.
Did Katt Williams just light a match under Beyoncé's entire legacy? The legendary comedian might have dropped one of the wildest bombshells in recent memory, allegedly claiming that both Michael Jackson and Prince had serious issues with Queen Bey. Like, wait, was she really the target of some of their coldest shade? Sources say Katt didn't hold back one bit. He supposedly spilled that Beyoncé's climb to the top wasn't all glitz and talent. It was calculated, maybe even a little shady. And guess what? It reportedly rubbed both Prince and MJ the wrong way. Let's not forget, Katt and Prince were tight back in the day, so this isn't coming out of nowhere. Now the big question, what did Beyoncé do to tick off two of the greatest music legends of all time? Was it just about the music, or was something deeper going on behind the scenes? Let's talk MJ first. Word is, Michael once threw low-key shade saying, "She takes lessons. She ain't that good." That's cold, especially coming from someone like him. Considering how massive Beyoncé is now, that comment hits hard. But it wasn't just about her choreography. There might have been some deeper doubts about her overall artistry. Meanwhile, Prince had a whole different vibe. He reportedly offered to teach her piano, but Loki sounded surprised she even knew her way around music. That's not exactly a glowing endorsement. It kinda sounds like he was trying to test her real knowledge, like, are you really about this life? Both icons respected her in their own way, but clearly weren't fully sold. MJ's comment about her needing lessons could have been a jab at her relying more on training than pure raw skill. Let's be real. Michael was a perfectionist and didn't hand out praise unless it was well-earned. He might have been hinting that Beyoncé just didn't have that natural magic he looked for. Prince, on the other hand, was all about that unfiltered, self-taught genius. He believed real artistry came from within, not from flashy production or industry hype. And Beyoncé? She was already becoming the face of polished pop perfection. That might have clashed hard with Prince's beliefs. Prince was not a fan of the overuse of samples in modern music either. He once slammed how lazy the music game had become, and that could have been a quiet shot at songs like Crazy in Love, which leaned heavily on classic samples. He didn't call her out directly, but the message was loud and clear. Too much recycling, not enough originality. For Prince, music had to be fresh, bold, and straight from the soul. Anything else felt like a shortcut. And to him, that kind of industry formula might have made Beyoncé's rise look more manufactured than earned. And this whole sample drama didn't stop there. Remember when Kellis dragged Beyoncé for using a chunk of her hit Milkshake without even asking first? That stirred the pot even more. While sampling is common in the music biz, artists like Kellis say it crosses the line when done without permission. It starts to look like someone's cutting corners instead of creating something new. And here's where it gets extra spicy. Janet Jackson's name enters the chat. For years, there's been talk of a quiet rivalry between Janet and Beyoncé. Some folks think it kicked off when people started comparing the two. Others say it got real messy after the 2004 Super Bowl. Janet's infamous wardrobe slip stole headlines, but Beyoncé's clean-cut image started rising fast around the same time. Some believe Beyoncé's image actually helped erase the backlash Janet was facing, and that her rise came partly at Janet's expense. That drama never truly went away. Janet has even been rumored to accuse Beyoncé of borrowing styles and ideas from other artists. And then there's Charlemagne the God jumping in, saying Beyoncé could surpass Michael Jackson. That sent fans into a frenzy. Some saw it as blasphemy. Others started wondering if the crown was officially passed. But did that comparison honor MJ? Or flat out disrespect his legacy? Now here's where things really twist. MC Hammer claims MJ once called him the best dancer alive. But when Hammer suggested someone else, Cough Beyoncé Cough, might have been better, MJ reportedly snapped, saying, "She takes lessons, she ain't that good." For MJ, dance was personal. Every move he did came straight from his soul. No choreographer, no script. So if someone else came through with polished routines from hired dancers, that didn't impress him much. And don't forget, Prince supposedly told a reporter he offered to teach Beyoncé piano and was shocked she even had music knowledge. That's a sly dig if we've ever seen one. It totally backed up MJ's alleged vibe, that while Beyoncé's performance game was strong, her foundation might have been more style than substance. So now we gotta ask, Were MJ and Prince really throwing subtle shade at Beyoncé, or were they just holding her to their own impossibly high standards? One thing's for sure, the legends saw something, and they weren't just clapping along in the crowd. At first, Prince offering to teach Beyoncé piano might have sounded like a sweet gesture. But let's be real, Prince never spoke without meaning. That comment wasn't just small talk. Prince, the ultimate self-made musical genius, was sending a message loud and clear. He questioned the authenticity of Beyoncé's talent. This man wrote, produced, and performed nearly everything himself. For Prince, being an artist wasn't about glam squads or marketing. It was about soul, skill, and struggle. So when he hinted that Beyoncé's fame might be more about industry push and good looks than raw musical depth, that hit different. He wasn't throwing shade just for the drama. He was making a statement about what counts as real artistry. And Prince didn't stop there. Back in a 1998 interview, he slammed modern music for relying too much on recycled sounds. He said sampling was watering down the game. For him, true music meant innovation, not just remixing someone else's work. And guess what? That comment felt like another quiet shot at Beyoncé and Jay-Z, who are known for borrowing from past hits to make new chart toppers. Look no further than Crazy in Love. That banger pulls heavy from the Chai Lights' Are You My Woman? Sure, sampling can be creative and respectful when done right, but Prince saw too many artists skipping the real work and leaning on what already popped before them, especially when folks didn't give proper credit. That's where things got messy again in 2022, when Kellis called out Beyoncé and Pharrell over the Renaissance album. Kellis went off on social media, accusing them of using a piece of her iconic hit Milkshake without even a heads up. She said, "My mind is blown too, because the level of disrespect and utter ignorance of all three parties involved is astounding. Some people in this business have no soul or integrity, and they have everyone fooled." Whew, that wasn't just a diss, that was a full-on explosion. And here's the thing. This wasn't the first time Beyoncé got heat for this kind of thing. Over the years, she's been hit with multiple accusations, not just for samples, but for lifting dance moves, outfits, and even whole video concepts. Critics have been whispering for years that Bey's inspiration sometimes looks a little too close to straight-up borrowing. One major moment, the drama over her ballad, If I Were a Boy. People were shook when they found out the song didn't originally come from Beyoncé at all. It was written by singer-songwriter Bcee Jean after her own rough breakup. She teamed up with producer Toby Gad to create it. The track was meant to be her own lead single. But then, Beyoncé's team swooped in. Suddenly, Beyoncé was recording it and releasing it. Bcee Jean was credited as the writer, but she admitted she was stunned when the track popped up on Beyoncé's album in 2011. "It's an amazing compliment," Bcee said at the time, but I was like, "That's great, but it's going to be on my album." That didn't exactly happen. She later tried to smooth things over publicly, calling it the best breakup ever and saying she didn't see it as theft. But let's be real, there's probably a little more to that story than she let on. At least she got a serious check out of the deal, right? But the controversies didn't stop there. Beyoncé's countdown video sparked even more noise when fans spotted striking similarities to a routine by Belgian choreographer Anne-Therese de Keersmaker. It wasn't just inspired by, fans literally made side-by-side clips to prove how close it was. The resemblance had folks questioning whether this was an homage or a full-on copy. Eventually, Beyoncé addressed it, admitting that Countdown was influenced by multiple references. She told the New York Times, "Clearly, the Ballet Rosas by Anne-Therese de Keersmaker was one of many inspirations for my video countdown." But the damage was already done. Anne-Therese wasn't exactly flattered either, and she made it clear she wasn't thrilled with the so-called tribute. From samples to choreography to visuals, Beyoncé's creativity has often been at the center of debates over originality. And when legends like Prince speak out about artistry and innovation, you better believe fans are going to look deeper. Anne-Therese de Keersmaker wasn't having it. To her, Beyoncé's so-called homage in the Countdown video wasn't a tribute. It was straight-up theft. She felt Beyoncé's team should have had the decency to reach out before borrowing her work, especially since there are clear rules in place for that kind of thing. And let's be honest, there's no way Beyoncé and her camp didn't know those rules. For Anne, this wasn't just inspiration. It was a move with no respect attached. And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, enter Baby Boy. Back in 2003, an up-and-coming singer-songwriter named Jennifer Armour sent her demo Got a Little Bit of Love for You to Columbia Records, the same label Beyoncé was signed to. Months later, Jennifer was shocked to hear Baby Boy on the radio. The sound, way too close to be coincidence. She ended up filing a lawsuit but lost the case because she couldn't prove Bey had ever heard her track before dropping her own. And that wasn't the only time accusations flew. During her Formation World Tour, Beyoncé caught heat once again. Choreographer Marlon Oritz slammed her for allegedly swiping moves from his dance troupe's performance, De La Guarda. He took to Instagram writing, "You stole from Breaking Surface. You stole the stomping from De La Guarda for Fuerza Bruta. It's okay to be inspired, but at least make the effort to make it your own." The frustration was real, especially from creatives who felt erased. Marlon wasn't the only one who spoke up. Producer Terrence T-Rob Robinson dropped a $200 million lawsuit against Destiny's Child, claiming they jacked his song Glorious, which he says he pitched directly to Beyoncé's dad, Matthew Knowles, back in 2000. According to Robinson, Matthew ghosted him, and months later, Survivor hit the airwaves. Same vibe, no credit. He later said, "I know right now I'd be one of the most sought-after producers in the game." That lawsuit likely got settled behind closed doors. Then there's Crazy in Love, one of Beyoncé's biggest career-defining hits. Bey once said the idea came from a light bulb moment in the studio. But Rich Harrison, the producer, tells a different story. He says he played the instrumental sample. Beyoncé liked it and said, "I love the idea. Now write the song. I'll be back in 2 hours." Rich claims he was hungover, but still knocked out the full track, lyrics, music, everything, before she returned. Beyoncé only wrote the bridge. So all that talk about her creating the song? Yeah, not exactly the full picture. And let's talk irreplaceable. Beyoncé once told a concert crowd she wrote it for women everywhere. But the real writer? Nayo. He revealed that the song was originally penned for himself, but he passed it off after realizing it might come across wrong coming from a guy. Bey added her signature flair, but didn't write the lyrics, and that raised plenty of eyebrows when she started claiming the track as her own. Now shift to Bootylicious, that unforgettable guitar riff. It came from Stevie Nicks' Edge of 17. Beyoncé has claimed that the sample idea came to her during a trip to Japan. She said she heard the track, thought about curvy women, and boom! The concept for Bootylicious was born. Cute story. But totally not true. Producer Rob Fusari said it was his idea all along. When he saw Beyoncé taking credit for it in interviews, especially the one with Barbara Walters, he was furious. He confronted Matthew Knowles, who allegedly told him, "People don't want to hear about Rob Fusari from New Jersey. No offense, but that's not what sells records." Yikes. Cold, but revealing. Then Azealia Banks jumped into the chaos, throwing serious shots Beyoncé's way. In 2018, Banks accused her of constantly jacking work from lesser-known black women. She claimed Beyoncé swiped choreography from Count Contessa, work originally done by her ex-dancer Ashanti and choreographer Jip Jock. Banks wasn't subtle either. She wrote, "Beyoncé needs to get over herself and just hire me." Banks didn't stop there. She doubled down, saying Beyoncé talks about female empowerment while allegedly stealing from the very women she claims to uplift. She said, "We don't need any more Beyoncé thought moments." And back in 2016, Banks went even further, saying Beyoncé exploited darker-skinned black women, tweeting, "She's not an artist, she's a poacher." That same year, songwriter Tiffany Red also spoke out, saying, "I think Beyoncé is a brilliant artist. I also think she's a hypocrite." Her comments added more weight to the long-running criticism. Even Janet Jackson, the iconic legend herself, didn't hold back. Rumors swirled that Janet quietly called Beyoncé out for borrowing too much from other artists without giving credit. Beyoncé's mom, Tina Knowles, jumped in to defend her daughter's artistry, but the chatter didn't die down, and then came the comment that set fire to social media. Charlemagne the God suggested that Beyoncé could surpass Michael Jackson. MJ fans weren't having it. Many said the comparison was flat-out disrespectful, especially since Michael's life was tragically cut short. They argued he never got the chance to shine in the era of social media, which would have magnified his stardom even more. Chance the Rapper also chimed in, and his take even hotter. While speaking at Dillard University, he told grads, "Beyoncé's performance was better than any Michael Jackson performance ever. That woman better than Mike. Black woman better than Mike. I said it." He added, "She eclipsed every Grammy performance, every Super Bowl halftime show, everything from the beginning of time. This was Coachella." But here's the thing. Michael and Prince weren't just legends. They were architects of modern music. Their subtle shade toward Beyoncé wasn't random hate. It was about standards, about guarding the legacy of real originality. And maybe, just maybe, they saw through the smoke and mirrors of what the industry was turning into. Still, no matter the controversy, Beyoncé has carved out a spot at the top. She's one of the biggest forces in music, no doubt. But the ghosts of criticism from MJ, Prince, and her peers keep following her. And with each new homage, the debate around creativity and credit gets louder. Thanks for watching. If you're into raw celebrity drama, real talk, and breaking down the untold stories behind the glitz, make sure you smash that subscribe button, drop a comment, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. See you on the next one!